welcome back to another Kerbal space program video. As promised, this week we're gonna go to Duna and send a rover as well as a Kerbal. So first step is to build the rover. Let's start with the scanning arm, then some communication, batteries, solar panels, and all the science experiments we can fit on the little rover. Add some wheels. It's not always easy to add wheels in KSP. So I think the idea will be to test the rover once it's done. So yeah, that's it. Let's test it on the runway first. Handles pretty well, moves forward, backwards, doesn't look like it's gonna tip over. So yeah, that's good enough. Let's go back and build our spaceship. So here I fitted our little rover in this little bay, service bay. And I already started the rocket. This will be basically the lander module. Just the lander and the service bay with our rover. Add some parachute because Duna has an atmosphere, we'll be able to land with parachutes only. And then build our transfer stage. We'll put some big communication dishes on the transfer stage because the transfer stage is going to act as relay as well. Now we're going to add the little engines that will help us separate and land on Duna. So here they are. I also added a heat shield. I'm not sure it's needed. I forgot how the atmosphere is on Duna. I think it's not as high as on Kerbal, but let's just add it anyways for the security. Put some RCS because I don't have reaction wheels yet, so we just use the RCS to stabilize. Try to put some boosters on the side, and I just opted for normal engines instead. To have a bit more control with gimbals. And yeah, that's basically it for our rocket. Delta V to go to Duna is needed is about 6,500, so we should have more than enough here. Just add some spare one, but since we're going one way, it's not going to be a problem. Here we hire a new Kerbal to be our pilot, John Kerbal, and off we go. So I didn't look at the time window, and it's not a good time now, but we'll just launch the rocket first, circularize our orbit, and then we'll just warp a little bit until our time transfer with Duna is better. So here nothing new, not very good orbit especially, but it's okay, we have more than enough fuel. We are circularizing our orbit a little bit. That's approximately 100 kilometers. Yeah, that's good enough. So here let's target Duna, see where we are right now. And try to put node, and we're not that great yet, so we'll just have a look first if we can get an okay transfer, but doesn't look like it's the case. So we'll just time warp a little bit until we have a better alignment with Duna. So let's plot. Let me see. Okay, here we are. This is much better. We're very close by. What I usually do is I get a really close approach. That'd be good enough first. Get out of Kerbal's sphere of influence, and then make a second node with our adjustment burn once we're out of Kerbal's gravity. Here we are, out of Kerbal. Put a new node. Focus on Duna. And try to find something that's close enough for 23 meters per second. That's not much. Execute the burn. And here we have a nice, very close encounter. So first I wanted to build the rover like on the thumbnail, but we don't have the parts needed yet. So I'll try to unlock them at the end of this episode, and we might have a nice rover like in the thumbnail next time. Okay, so here I'm circularizing my orbit around Duna, really nice. I'm separating our lander module, and I will start to land. I noticed that I'm landing on the dark side, so I just adjust a little bit. We have more than enough fuel, I mean much more than enough. So we just adjust a little bit, and we'll be landing on the sunny side. So I noticed that we really didn't need our heat shield, since we broke off our speed, most of our speed, plus the atmosphere is not that thick, which is not that great as well. That means that our 3 parachutes are barely doing enough to break us down, and we landed at about 7 meters per second, which is just enough not to break anything. Here you can see that we didn't land on very flat spot. Luckily the parachute held on, and we just rolled down the hill at 3 meters per second. Okay, so we are landed. Now we can do a little bit of experiments, EVA, surface samples, transmit everything, and prepare our rover. So let's open the bay, get our rover out, of course crash into the flag, get the flag down. And what I'm looking for is one of those breaking ground new planet things that they added, like meteorites or other surface features. So I see a black pixel, I don't know if you see it on the right, and I just go towards the black pixel. I'm hoping it's gonna be something that we can scan with the arm. And it's pretty long go, about 2 kilometers, and it disappeared behind a hill, and as we get closer we notice that it's indeed one of the new planet features. So let's brake all slowly, stop. Of course our rover is just sliding somehow, so we just go against the rock, time warp to get our power up. Of course the time warp is not really great in KSP, so our rover just bounced as soon as we went back to 100%. Scan the meteorite, time warp again, bounce again, and I noticed that I can't transmit my science data somehow, so I'm thinking how can I solve this, but luckily we had a massive communication dish on the lander, and we have a little Kerbal who's there. So I'm just gonna drive back, park inside the service bay, and then get our Kerbal to pick up all the experiments and transmit them from the main dish on the lander. So here we are, park the rover nicely, get John Mel Kerman to pick up all the science we gathered, get back in there and transmit the science. Of course it takes a lot of, we didn't have enough batteries, so we just apply the partial transmit on the dishes. We just transmit as soon as they have enough energy, and there we are. We have pretty much a lot of science. What I'm doing now is I'm going back to our space station, and we have the science lab who processed a lot of science as well. So here we see we have 1,129 science, a lot of science to unlock our parts. Looking at all the parts, and we're gonna go with the ion engine first, because we want to go to Joule and Lathe next week. Also the new rover parts as promised. So everyone noticed that KSP 1.8 came out, so here it is. I didn't use it in this episode yet because I was afraid for the save games, but everything looked nice, and yeah, this is the first images of KSP 1.8. You see the ground texture looks much better and nicer. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, like and subscribe, and if not, well, leave me a comment in what I could do better. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye.